What's up, everybody? Welcome to my first video. My name is...
Onyx.
And I started this channel because I noticed most Christian YouTubers are adults. And I haven't reached Unk status yet. So I decided, hey, why don't I make my own channel and yap about stuff I like too? So I did, and here I am. Here's some cool gameplay in the background for y'all to stay entertained, and hopefully you enjoy watching me die over and over again because I suck. Anyway, with all that being said, let's actually get into what I'm going to be talking about. Today, I'm going to be talking about being true to yourself. But what does that even mean? In simple terms, it means not changing who you are just to get people to like you. A lot of us do this, and heck, even I've done this, and part of the reason why this happens in the first place is because we are social creatures, and as human beings, we crave acceptance and community. Sometimes we're willing to even fake parts of ourselves or treat others like garbage just to be accepted, and that's just not of God, and it's pretty crappy to do to people, I'm not gonna lie. Now, I'm not saying you should never change. If you see a friend doing something positive that makes them a better person, it's okay to get inspired and improved. And it's normal to act a little differently around your friends versus your parents. It's not being fake, it's just showing that you respect your parents, and it makes perfect sense. Because you wouldn't treat your parents the same way as your friends, because they're your teachers and are supposed to be some of the most important people in your lives. It's only when you change to the extreme that it starts to become an issue. You should never lose your core values or who you are just to please others. But how do you even know who you are? It comes down to a few things. How you behave, what you value, what you don't value, and your hobbies and things you like doing. The problem is, people reject their real selves a lot without realizing it. And there's two ways that I've seen this happen commonly. Trying to fit in and peer pressure. And I get fitting in is easy, you just copy what everybody else says and does, no thinking required. But over time, it turns into this sort of a hive mind. People stop thinking for themselves, and this is what society's kind of come to recently, where everybody has the same opinion, nobody ever wants to have disagreements, and when they do, they act like little babies having tantrums when stuff doesn't go their way. It's just how we shouldn't be as a society. That's not going to be innovative, and it's not going to get us anywhere. People don't even like disagreeing on stuff anymore, because they're afraid that if they disagree, they're going to be hated, or they're gonna be yelled at. And I can't even blame them, because if you even have like the slightest controversial opinion or have a disagreement with somebody, especially on that Blue Bird app, people will tear you limb from limb just to feel better about themselves, and it's just unhealthy. Now, to fix this is simple. I can't stress this enough. Just think for yourself, dude. Do your own research. Don't just believe what the majority thinks, because if the last couple of years has proved anything, is that we as people are wrong about a lot.
Constantly.
Now with that part out of the way, let's talk about something that is also pretty bad. Peer pressure. Peer pressure is horrible, because once you give in, it's easier for people to pressure you next time. It becomes like a domino effect. In my own experience, saying no is possible. Just ask yourself, why are they asking me to do this in the first place when they wouldn't do it themselves? And why does it have to be me? If this feels wrong, just say no. This starts off small and harmless, but keeps getting more intense. You should be more careful, like if they try pressuring you to do something else again. Like say you fall into like peer pressure and they ask you to do something stupid, right? But it's not gonna affect you too much. Be careful, because next time they could say to do something more intense and just keep ramping it up, and you feel more comfortable doing dumber stuff. And it's a horrible cycle to get into. But from personal experience here, I'll put a little sprinkle of personal experience that I've dealt with. When I was younger, I would do anything and everything for attention. That's how I got treated by people who did not give two flying bricks about me. Luckily, I had parents that did love me and still do very much, and I thank the Lord for them every day. It was miserable at first, realizing that, wow, these guys just want to get a quick laugh out of me and nothing else. And I realized, why am I jumping through so many hoops for people that I know wouldn't do the same for me and are just talking just to talk? So after I figured out all of that and got my crap in order and had a game plan for how I wanted to improve as a person, I just stopped. Sure, I still treat people with kindness and respect, but I don't really let that many people too close into my inner circle anymore. Learning how to discern the good people from the bad takes time, and I'm definitely no master at it. But even now that I think twice before befriending just anybody and doing anything for anyone, I feel better about myself, because I know who's in control, and I'm not subjected to the feeling of shame when I don't do stuff for people when I know it's going to be horrible for me, or for them. But the last thing I want to say is, just don't be a people pleaser and ask people for praise and validation all the time. Because if you rely on people's praise and kindness, you're going to be a slave to their validation and won't be able to form your own form of happiness yourself. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that for today. Thanks for tuning in. I hope this first episode was something that you could think to yourself about. And I'll most likely be making more videos like these, but not all of them will be like this one. I'll probably do gameplay videos, compilations, you never know, so just keep your eye out for that. Anyways, have a good day. Bye.